Hey y'all, I'm Sarah from Dottie and Norman. I'm so glad you're here. I have loved making these weekly Wednesday videos for y'all. It's been a fun way to feel like we can connect a little bit. And I'm thinking like the vibe that I really love doing with these videos is kind of like a grown-up show and tell. I love just like talking to the camera instead of maybe showing as much, which I do love the concept of, but I think my favorite is kind of this little format. So I thought we would just chat today and I would show y'all some things that have been on my radar lately, what's been going on in my brain. I'm not gonna show you any sneak peeks for our June mailing. They are all on Patreon right now, so you can go check them out there. But we still have 2 or 3 weeks before they go out. So I feel like we've got plenty of time before I do that. But as a reminder, the theme is a cowgirl summer. I got all of the prints yesterday in the mail. And you guys, I am obsessed. This has to be my favorite theme so far. And seeing all the pieces together, I was just, I'm so happy and I'm so excited to show y'all. And I didn't want to just like show them off like too early. I want to let the excitement build a little bit. I will be showing them in my next YouTube videos, but if you want to peek at what's going on, it's all on my Patreon and I'll put the link in my description. I wanted to share something that's really been on my mind a lot lately. And I've been thinking about the sweetest comment I got from one of my Patreon members who received my happy mail, read the letter, and said that it really encouraged her to take a minute to slow down. She was looking at the birds around her and just taking some moments for herself. And I felt so much joy in reading that comment because that is my dream. That is my goal of what I want and hope for this business, for this YouTube channel, is that it just encourages all of us to slow down, to take those moments to be more grounded. And there's lots of different ways to do that. I try to do that through writing my letter each month that you get with your happy mail, but also in the art that I create, that it is all handmade, and just the different Whimsy projects I like to come up with and share on this YouTube channel. They're all in an effort to just be more grounded, And as a therapist, I worked as a marriage family therapist for several years, and so much of my work was focused on just, so many of us have anxiety. I've had anxiety, I have anxiety, many of my clients did, and one of my favorite hacks for anxiety was just being grounded in the moment instead of getting lost in our anxiety about what could happen or our feelings of the past of what has happened. And so any of these things that can really ground us and bring us back to the moment that we are in really helps us regulate our heart rate and slows down our blood pressure and our breathing, and just helps kind of open up that frontal cortex so that we can use our higher brain to be thinking about things and to just get the fullest out of life. And so I think that's kind of like a foundation of what I talk about a lot in different ways. But I am all about just like trying to connect with the real life that we are living in, and trying to notice the beauty around us and to create beauty around us. And I think it's easy when we're just like on our screen so much and scrolling in the algorithm to get lost. And it often brings us to those places where we're anxious about the future or the past. And so these moments where we can touch some grass, where we can create something with our hands, we can listen to the sounds of the birds or whatever, those are the things that can really help us regulate our bodies and just enjoy our lives. Life can be very, very hard for many of us, and I think that we can't always control that. There are lots of things in this life that we cannot control, but making those efforts to be more present and grounded in our lives can often help us enjoy more of what is around us. So that's kind of like a thread that goes throughout a lot of maybe the background of what's in my head as I'm creating things and sharing things that I don't normally talk about that, but I think that's why the things that I share here are important to me and why I share them. And this morning, it's like our first day of summer. So we're back after Memorial Day was yesterday, and today my kids started summer camp, and we're kind of just on a totally different schedule now that summer is in session. And since it is so hot here in Texas, I have decided to try to make the most of the morning time, because it's truly the best time to enjoy being outside if you live in Texas. Even going outside at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night sometimes can be too hot to bear, unless maybe you're in a pool. But I'm really trying to just enjoy being outside. Again, that's one of those things that really grounds me. And so I really enjoyed this morning sitting on my back porch, getting some work done. And before I even did that, I just decided to kind of get all of my tasks that I usually put off and wait till the later part of the day. I decided to just get them done first. So I did a walk this morning, I cleaned up our kitchen, I started laundry, I got ready for the day, and those are things I usually don't do until like 9 or 10 or even later in the day. And so I got those things done first off, and it just felt really good to like have this environment where like the kitchen's clean, and I got to go on a walk and enjoy the beautiful weather, and I had some time outside, and I got the laundry started, and it was just a lovely way to start summer. So I don't know if I'll do that always for the rest of the summer, but in my head, that's the plan. So we'll see, but I just thought it was kind of a lovely way to start out the day, instead of just like jumping into work, which is what I usually do during the school year. Is in the morning before I get my kids to school, I'm already like sending off emails, and then I drop them off at school, and when I come back, I'm like doing more stuff on my computer. And I just thought it'd be fun to switch that up a bit for the summer. So that's the hope. We'll see if that continues, but it was a very lovely way to start my morning. But for now, I do have a couple little projects I've been working on that I thought would be fun to show y'all. So last week I made these adorable seashell trinket dishes. And let me take out, I made some more paper stars, of course, and I'm dropping them. But this is the adorable little trinket dish that I made. I'm actually selling them on Etsy, and I've got a few left. I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep them in my Etsy shop, but they are really fun to make. I'm not going to be doing a tutorial. There's lots of people surely that have done tutorials on how to make these, but as a trinket hoarder or trinket lover, we just need all the trinket dishes. So this one actually goes next to my bed, and it's in my bookcase, and it's just like a little pop of summer joy. And I've considered doing one for like every season, but it's so fun. I'm gonna give y'all a little close up on how beautiful it is. Right now they're in my Etsy shop for $19, and I will put that link in the description too. So that's really fun. They also come with matching like little stars as a freebie, and I made little gingham ones this time because I just thought that'd be really cute. That was a lot of fun, and it was actually on my summer whimsy list that I put in my whimsy journal as one of the things that I want to do this summer and to create this summer. And I'm gonna show y'all the spread I made in my junk journal, that like shows off a picture of this and just is a reminder of something whimsical I did this summer, but I'll show that in a minute. But before I do, I wanna show y'all, I kind of like this even more and I hesitate to show it off because I just don't have it in me to make more or to sell these, but I did make this and it is adorable and I am obsessed. This is my Trinket Mod Podge seashell decoupage bookmark. And I, just like I did the Trinket dish, I did mini seashells and they came with holes in them so that I could put the jump rings through them. But because they're so small, they were just much more challenging to make, which is why I'm not interested in trying to sell these. I want to make sure that the quality is really good, and honestly, like, this one looks great, but if you look up close, I don't know. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to be selling them, but it would be a really fun thing for you to make. So I would say if you're wanting to do this, I will not be doing a tutorial, but I will say look up any tutorial talking about Mod Podge seashells and just kind of replicate it with mini seashells. Turn it into a journal charm or a bookmark. I did mine, I made a hydrangea bookmark in watercolor and I'm really happy with how that turned out. It is obviously, like, the watercolor paper is thick and durable compared to other types of paper, but because this journal charm is so heavy, it just kind of like pulls on the bookmark even though I put a metal grommet in it. So I don't know, I would say maybe just laminate it would be better. I was trying to avoid an unnecessary use of plastic, but I do feel like this would hold up a lot better if I had laminated it. So anyways, there's a little show and tell of this cute little junk journal charm, which was another thing I had on my to-do list for summer whimsy. That being said, maybe we should just like get into, I can't decide. Here's what I'm gonna do. I've got this book here. We're gonna talk about books because I did have a summer reading challenge as part of the Whimsy junk journal, and I actually finished my book. So let me grab it. Okay, so as a reminder for our Whimsy journal, I did this page for my summer reading challenge, and I just picked one book. I wanted to keep it low pressure this summer because you never know if summers, like, sometimes they're actually busier than real life, sometimes they're less busy, and I just don't like putting pressure on myself to read. So I just picked one and I did read it already, but I need to write in here my thoughts about it and give it a star rating. So the book I picked is called The Fountain by Casey Skieska. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. It was a really fun summer pick. So it was written in the Catskills, it was set in the Catskills, and it was over, I think it's set in like 2014 actually, but the main character, she is immortal and she has been alive for over 200 years, and it's kind of like a grown-up Tuck Everlasting. I liked it better than Tuck Everlasting, but that being said, it was very dark. So read through all the trigger warnings before you decide to pick this one up. It was pretty fast-paced. I read it pretty quickly, and I will give it a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I really enjoyed reading it, but I don't feel like I was superbly inspired in any way, and for me that's what gets a 5 star, if I felt like really connected to the plot or the character and then also really inspired. This book was just a fun read, and I really enjoyed it. So 4 stars for me. That being said, I went on to my next book that I wanted to read in the summer, which is The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 1. I feel like I've seen this everywhere. Maybe you have too. It's very popular. I think it was self-published, which is so incredible for this book to be so popular. It's only like 97 pages, I think. 107. And the time frame that this is set in is in the 1883 year, but it is kind of like a Regency book, like reminds me of Jane Austen, although this was set like 50 plus years after like Pride and Prejudice was. This book I've read maybe like 15 pages and I'm not hooked on it yet. Like I see, unfortunately, no draw in it for me yet. And I'm surprised by that because I've heard such good things. I know people love this book and this series. I thought it's fun that it's short because I always love reading like a short read and just getting through it quickly and just having like, I don't know, just an experience with it, but I don't know that I'm gonna finish. So I just don't know that this book is for me. And I've had the experience where I have read books and I knew from the beginning that it wasn't for me, but I kept going because I love to finish things. And I get to the end of the book and I feel like it was still nothing in it connected to me. And I'd wish that I had done something else with my time. So I am pretty quick to DNF a book, but this one's only 107 pages. So I'm like, it's not gonna take that long. But I also just want to listen to what I'm feeling. And right now I'm not feeling this. I don't know why, but if you loved it, I hope you love it. I hope it is a wonderful read if you choose to read it. I am going to start this one today, The Fullness of Time. This was on one of my summer hopefuls by Kathy Haynes, Marking the Day by Birdsong Blooms, Shadows and Stars. And just, I'm kind of in the mood to get a little bit more connected with nature. And I'm not committing to finishing it, but I will commit to start it today and we'll see how it goes. So I will let you know. I'm also reading, this is quite the summer read, The Count of Monte Cristo. It is originally written in French. It was set in the city of Marseille in the south of France, where I actually got to live for a summer in college. So I have always wanted to say that I read this book because this book was so important to many people living in Marseille that I came across. There's a beautiful little island it's called Chateau d'If, and that is where part of this book is set. And so whenever you go there, they'll ask the tourists, like, have you been to Chateau d'If? And I never went, and I also never read this. So I found a Substack writer. Her name is Lily, and I will put her link in the description. But she is doing what she calls the Grand Tour, and it is a 3-month-long light curriculum on her Substack, and each month it includes a PDF that has like a reading guide for chapters of The Count of Monte Cristo, and then it also pairs it with 2 different artists that you were encouraged to study 2 pieces of art each month that you're encouraged to study and focus on, and then also 1 composer, and the composer and the artist who created the work published those things around the same time that Alexander Dumas wrote The Count of Monte Cristo. So it's supposed to like really kind of immerse you, but it's also not designed for like a really literary reader, which in my head I would love to be that, but I haven't read as many classics as I like to, and it still feels pretty laborious to read a lot of classics. It feels daunting, and so her goal is to kind of lower that barrier and to just make it more approachable and more immersive. And I don't know, I heard about this and I immediately was like, I want in. This sounds really cool and like a fun summer project. This is the PDF that you can print off once you sign up on her Substack. It's $7 a month, I believe, and her Substack is called The Commonplace Circle. But I'm really excited to dive in. I'm a bit late. They started at the beginning of May, so I'm behind, but it doesn't seem like it's a problem. I can just follow along with the posts that match up for the chapters I'm reading. And I did get an abridged version, which may be looked down upon, I don't know. But personally, I think that abridged versions are such a great entry point for a daunted reader, for someone who has reading struggles, for someone who feels overwhelmed by reading. I often love reading a book in a child's version and a kid's version before I read it, because I feel like it helps me kind of relax more as I read and pay attention to different literary devices and not be so stressed about focusing on the plot that sometimes I miss, because reading is sometimes a challenge for me. So I will sometimes read a child's version of a book before I read the original work, and I will often read an abridged version and have no guilt about it. And then it's always like, you can, if you liked the abridged version, you can always step up and read the original, which I think is a lovely idea. But I am looking forward to reading this. And the abridged version, my copy, it's only 531 pages, which is still very daunting for me. But I do look forward to doing this. I think I'm supposed to read about 10 chapters this week, which would be about 50 pages in my book. So I feel like that's totally doable, and I've really enjoyed listening to the music that matches this month's theme. And I don't know, it's just a fun little summer project that I wasn't really expecting, but when I came across it, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. Okay, so that's kind of like what I'm reading and what's been going on in my brain lately. I wanted to show y'all a couple of spreads, journal spreads that I've been working on. So let me grab those. Okay, so this is my spread from, I showed y'all last week about how I used my own junk journaling kit to decorate the pages, but I finally put an inside cover on it, and it's super simple, but I love it, and I wanted to show y'all. I love this color. It's almost like a periwinkle, and I just put my name and the business name and a date, and keeping it simple, but I really like how this turned out. So I wanted to show y'all, and then I also wanted to show y'all the spread I did for my trinket dishes. So if you remember, we go back to my summer whimsy list of all the whimsical things I hope to do this summer, and ideally I make one spread about each of them, so that there's 20 whimsy spreads. So I told y'all last week, I did the movie and sour gummies where I watched The Little Rascal with my kids, and I still have not journaled about it, but that was my spread. And then making the trinket dishes and the journal charms was another whimsy item on my list. So I created this spread for the summer trinket dishes. I took a picture and printed it and made this pretty little blue spread to remind myself of kind of the vibe. It was like a very light blue trinket dish, and with some of them are gingham, and so I put some plaid on here, and just the color it's just really happy, and I really enjoyed making this spread. Also, I have been working on some other things in my whimsy list, and one of them is making, let's see if I can find it. Oh, It's the very first one. Okay, make sweet pickles. So we made these as a family this weekend. I told you all that this was my husband's grandmother's recipe, and making them every time the weather gets warm, I'm ready to make sweet pickles. And so we made them, and they take about 5 days to kind of finish pickling. So we'll see how they taste, but I will do a spread of that soon. I need to take a picture of them. And that was a really fun memory. I made sure to do it while my kids and husband were there. They had never made the pickles before, so I wanted them to be a part of it and to show them how to do it. So that was really fun. And then I am hoping to do the like a shell sun catcher to put in my window. So I'll probably do that sometime in the next week or so. And I also got the Magnolia magazine that came out for the summer, and I have not looked through it. I'm saving it, and I want to do that maybe this week. It's sitting by my bed, and I'm just like itching to like dive into it. But I also want it to be more of an experience. So anyways, I think that's most of what I wanted to say today. Okay, truly that was all I did want to say, and I didn't even wrap it up. So I'm going ahead and editing the video and realizing there's like no ending to the video. So I just wanted to pop back on as I'm editing and just thank you for watching. Thank you for following along, and it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe and like my video so that it can be seen by other people. But thank you for being here. We're gonna keep adding whimsy to our lives in little doses, and I hope you have a lovely week.